So Trinidad and Tobago's Black Power movement was mainly influenced by the Black Panther movement in America, which was created in 1966 after the murder of Malcolm X, who was a prominent African Muslim minister and human rights activist. The Panther's main goal was to provide leadership and to liberate members of the black community, which was at that time being oppressed and trampled on by racist whites in a variety of ways, such as past biasness amongst other ethnic groups, abuse by a predominantly white police service, little job opportunities, homelessness, the list goes on. These factors caused high crime and drug use in black neighborhoods, and the government did very little to help. The Panthers adopted the animals the Black Panther as their symbol and name. Because it is said that the panther only attacks when threatened, their motto was Black Power. Now the Panthers were not anti-white. They were pro-white, pro-black, pro-yellow, pro-everybody. They fought for equality for all races. Let's head across to the island of Trinidad and Tobago in 1966, which 4 years prior received their independence from Great Britain. Though the country had autonomy, similar problems still exist. Foreigners owned everything. Someone of any color other than white would find it impossible to work in any reputable establishment owned by whites regardless of qualifications. Blacks or Indians would not be employed in banks, and wherever they did find work, it was always a struggle to make ends meet. Racism and oppression was in the air, and it stunk. In February 1969, a movement called the National Joint Action Committee was created by a guild of undergraduates at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine campus. That group was led by a duo of Geddes Gringer and Dave Diaburu. Together with trade unions and other social groups, such as Afro-Trinidadians, they brought together a high number of disaffected people from poor and low-income cities and towns. They even got the attention and support of disaffected members of then ruling party, People's National Movement. The Black Power movement was contagious. It spread like wildfire. There were a lot of groups formed as a result at different locations all over the country at this period, but I can't mention them all in one video. They all were pro-black and stayed true to their African roots, giving their groups African sounding names such as Ujama Kongpong, Ambatana, and Kilimanjaro, dressed in African wear or in black. A lot of black people around this time changed their name to African sounding names. If you were born around this time in Trinidad, you would have been given an African name by your parents also. Geddes Gringer changed his name to Makandal Daga and Dave Diaburu to Kafro Kubon. Their symbol was a black clenched fist, inspired by, you guessed it, the Black Panther movement. They staged protests and rallies in the capital, but all on a small scale. These groups hoped to force socio and political change, benefiting poor blacks and Indians in TNT. Women played a huge active role in the movement also, because it was at this time that they also fought for gender equality. There were tons of lawless acts carried out by these groups between 1968 to 1970. The government ruled by then Prime Minister Dr. Eric Williams, fearing an upheaval, introduced a section bill plotted by Attorney General Carl Hudson Phillips, which carried serious fines and jail times for any incarcerated. Certain books were also banned, like Mao's Little Black Book, Bolivarian Revolutionary Ernesto Che Guevara, the writings of Franz Ferdinand, even the Cuban newspaper. Dr. Williams also introduced the Public Order Act, which limited civil liberties in an effort to control protest marches. The Black Power movement escalated in early April 1970, when while during a protest, a man named Basil Davis was shot and killed by the police. I don't have all the details. There are two sides to every story. All I know is that he was shot by the police and died. This action resulted in massive protests and the resignation of Ian Robinson, the Tobago's East Member of Parliament, a few days later. On the 18th, sugarcane workers went on strike. Fearing a general strike, the panicked government called a state of emergency and arrested 15 Black Power member leaders the same day. Members of the military that sympathized with the Black Power movement, fearing that they will be used against the people, staged a mutiny, taking hostages in a Tetron barracks in Chaguaramas. This was led by Rafiq Shah and Rex Lashley. Now this was the early 70s. Trinidadians still haven't lost their spinal column through revolution. Both men and women had balls so big they had to carry it around in a cart. So in spite of the implementation of draconian law aimed at stifling protest actions, it had a little effect. Rallies and concerts were held nationwide, showcasing artists of the conscious movement such as Calypsonians, Black Stallion, Chalk The Explainer, and many more. Simultaneously, the political side of the movement was strengthened by massive industrial protests. Members from the Black Power group combined with capable trade union leaders like George Weeks, Clive Muniz, Winston Leonard, Joe Young, and aspiring young attorney Basio Pandey. There was also a militant side of the movement, led by the National Union of Freedom Fighters. They hid in the forests and rural areas and raided police stations for guns. They also robbed banks to fund their campaign against the government. Nuff committed a lot of terrible acts in the name of revolution. They were labeled as criminals and were placed on the country's most wanted list. Some of the members were killed in fierce gunfights with the police. This all happened mainly during 1970 to 1972. The years following the movement just lost its momentum. So now the big question, was the movement successful? That all depends on what you would call success. The movement opened doors of employment for people in private, state, and corporate institutions. For people of African and Indian descent, BB was one of the first state companies to hire a man with dreadlocks. Today, Rasta and natural hairstyles are accepted everywhere, except the protective services. Young people, as a result of the movement, were a lot more aware of black culture and politics, and knowledgeable in writings from intellectuals and radicals. The pressure placed on the government by these groups did not last on a massive scale as it was in the early 70s, mainly because it was the poor that bared the brunt of the movement, and they received very little in return. The Black Power movement itself lost its strength some years after, with most of its members being absorbed by the PNM party over the next couple of years. I wouldn't say they won, but the country did benefit as a people and as a nation. Different ethnic groups came together for a common goal. In many ways, the Black Panther movement improved the relationship between blacks and Indians in Trinidad and Tobago. Each learned about the other's culture and practices. The Black Power movement helped level the playing field for every citizen and give legitimacy to the words of our national anthem, "Here, every creed and race finds an equal place."